Okay, guys, so we're going to be making your spending plan today. Okay, so last time we tried to do it, but the video was too difficult, so this is a new one. Now, the first thing I want you guys to do is make sure you're using the same worksheet that you have been using before. Okay, so you might find it on assignment 4.1. I believe most of you guys have turned it in there, but make sure you're working on the same Google Sheets. Okay, when you are done with that, you're going to click on plus add a sheet right here. It's going to add a sheet for you. Okay, now I'm going to rename this sheet and I'm going to rename it as spending plan. If you guys see this other spending plan right here, this is the other one I did. Okay, but I didn't delete it, but I'm just going to make a new one for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to rename it and I'm going to call it spending plan. That's the first step. Spending plan one. I'm also going to change the color and I'm going to make it just red, just for it to stand out. Okay, now the first thing I want to do is I want to merge cells. So now the merge sign is right here. If you guys see the merge cells right here, that's called merging cells. So the first thing is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight from H all the way to A. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and merge horizontally. So now they're merged. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click between 1 and 2, between rows 1 and 2, and I'm going to pull it down. Okay. Next, I'm just going to go ahead and write inside. I'm going to write down spending plan inside. Okay. Now, obviously, I don't want it to be on that side. I'm going to center it. Okay. I'm going to change the font. You can change it to however you want. Okay. You can change the color of the letters to however you want. Okay. Or you can fill the color inside and just make it a color that you want. Okay. For me, I'm not going to write down any colors. I'm going to just change the colors of the letters to purple. Okay, so that's it. That's your first thing. Okay, now I don't like how the spending is at the bottom here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on vertical align here. So this is so that you can align the letters where you want them to be. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the middle, and you guys see how this now is in the middle rather than at the bottom. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add parts to your spending plan. Now, make sure you begin at A4. Okay, at A4 we're going to write categories. Okay. Categories. B4 I'm going to write down item. C4 I'm going to write store. B4 I'm going to write cost. Okay. E4 I'm going to write down tax. And F4 I'm going to write down total. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do those. So you make sure all of your things are different. They look like this. Okay, categories, items, store, cost, tax, and total. Okay, now for the next things, I want you guys to just write down random numbers up to 10. So all the way to 10, I want you to write down random numbers. Could be any numbers. Doesn't really matter for what we're going to do. Okay, just write down random numbers. So I finished writing random numbers, just random. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down a formula for tax. Now for tax here in California, our tax is 9.5%. So I want to make a formula that multiplies the total cost by 9.5% so that I can get how much tax it is. So what that means is if I want, for example, let's say that in California tax is 10%. Well, 10% of $90, it's $9. So I would have to multiply 90 times 10%, and that'll give me 9. Okay, so then I'm going to add the total cost plus the tax to give me the total of what I have to pay. So for us to do that, the first thing we need to do is create a tax formula. Now, for us to create a formula, all you have to do is click the equal sign, and that'll turn this automatically into a formula. Okay, now we want to be able to multiply the number that whatever column is in front, the numbers here in column D times 9.5. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one right here. And you guys can see it doesn't say 90 right here, it says D5. So I'm using D5 and I'm going to multiply that times 9.5, and don't forget the percent sign, times 9.5%. Okay, if I click enter, it's going to give me a number. This number is actually the total tax of that. This number right here represents 9.5% of $90. So if you were to buy an item that is $90, your total tax that you have to pay extra apart from those $90 is $8.55. So if you go to a store and you see something that costs $90, expect to pay $98.55 at the cashier. That's what that means, okay? Okay. So now we have to calculate that for each of these. But imagine that you had like 30 of these, for example. You would have to do one by one, right? No, that's not the case in Google Sheets. In Google Sheets, you can apply the same formula that we applied here to the rest. So what I mean, like for example, if I had to do this one by one, I would have to do equal sign, and I will have to do D6, and I will have to do times 9.5%, and that'll give me a number right here, right? I don't want to do that for every number. So Google Sheets has a way of making every cell that you want the same formula, and the way you do that is by dragging. So what I mean is right here, if you move to the corner, this little square right here, until you see this plus sign, and you drag down like this, the formula gets basically given to every single number. So if you click here, for example, you can see right here that the formula is D10 times 9.5%. So D10, which is this cell right here, it has been multiplied times 9.5%, and it has given me the tax of 89%, $89. Okay, $89. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and calculate the total. Okay. Now for total is easy. All I have to do is 90 plus 9.8.5. And you can do that in your head. It would be 98.55. However, I don't want to do that. Okay. I want to create a formula that allows me to, same thing, to drag so I can apply it to multiple numbers at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the equal sign. Okay. And that creates a formula. Okay. Now I want to do this number, which is D5, and I want to do that plus this number right here, E5. So I'm going to be adding this one plus this one. When I click enter, you get 98.55, meaning that this number and this number were added. Okay. Now, same thing. I'm going to just go ahead and click right here so I can see the plus sign. I'm going to drag down, and you guys can see now all those numbers have been put there. If I were to click here randomly, you can see the formula inside. If you look here, the formula is D9 plus E9. So you're adding this one plus this one. Okay, so that's how you get those. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that these are dollars. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight all of them, and I'm going to go ahead and write down format as currency. Now they're all dollars, so that's great. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to edit how this looks. Now you can edit it any way that you want. So for example, categories, you can just paint them orange. Item, you can do yellow. So I'm going to pause the video for I'm going to do this, and then I'll go forward. Okay, so I edited mine, and everything looks really nice. So I'm going to leave that there. Okay, you can edit however you want. It might take you, depending on how you do it, long or short. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create this in a box. So right now it looks a little like, doesn't look like everything's compiled within one place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drag from categories all the way down here. So highlight that. The way I highlighted all this whole thing at once without me dragging is you can click on the first thing, then you're going to press shift on your computer keyboard. You're going to keep that pressed, click on the last one, and you get everything highlighted. I want to make borders on this. So if I click here on this sign right here, Those are the border sign. So if I click on this one, everything's going to get border. You can change the color of your borders. So let's say I want to make them purple. You can change the color of your borders that way, okay? Um, you can make them thicker or thinner depending on what you like. Okay, I'm going to leave them black and I'm just gonna make it a little thicker, okay? So I made it look like this and I really like that, so I'm leaving that. If you want to do the spending plan in borders too, you can do that. You can click here, you can border it, you can make change the border color. Let's say you want to make it orange, you can change the thickness of it, right? So you can do those things. I honestly prefer just black and not so thick, kind of like that, okay? And I think that looks nice, so I'm going to leave that as that. The last thing you need to do is just delete these numbers here, and you're going to leave this here, and you're going to just have these things here, right? Now the next thing you want to do is you want to add a grand total. So grand total, I'm going to write that here under A2, under column, under column A by row 2. So A2. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and change how it looks like. Okay. And obviously I want a formula for my grand total as well. So my formula for the grand total is you can just write down the equal sign and you can do this plus this plus this plus this plus this. That takes too long. We don't want to do that. So when you want to do the plus, you can do it for 2 numbers, 3 numbers max. Otherwise, it's easier to use the sum sign. So what is the sum symbol? So this symbol right here, sigma, it's called. This symbol is sigma in Greek numbers. So sigma, if I click on sum, okay, it's going to add all the values from this row all the way to this row. So from this to this row, it's going to add those numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of these numbers, and it's going to add right here from F5 to F10. So when I do this right here, it's saying equals, and then sum means addition, and it's adding the numbers F5 to F10. So it's adding all the numbers in the cells from A5 to F10. If I click enter, it's going to give a number here. The last thing you need to do is make this a conditional formatting. So when I click on conditional formatting, so you go to format, okay, then you go to conditional formatting, you're going to have something called here format cells if not empty, okay? So format cells if it's greater than, and then we're going to give it a value. So your budget is $750. We want to spend less than $750. So if this number is greater than 750, we want to make it bold, we want to make it bright red, and we want to make it the letters, let's do like black. So make them however you want. So what I mean by that, I'm going to press done. So if the value right here is greater than 750, it's going to turn red, and that's going to tell you that you need to spend less money because your budget is $750. Okay, so let's say that one of my numbers is I have $50 that I want to eat, and I have $800 that I want to shop in clothes. So when I did that, it automatically added all these numbers. So 800 plus 50 is 850. So if you guys look at here, it turned a red. So what that tells me that I need to decrease the numbers that I'm using. So instead of 700, instead of 800, I'm going to put 700. So now right here is 750, which is exactly what I wanted. Therefore, this is that color. That means you're still within budget. That means you're good. Okay. So if this turns into the color that you conditioned and formatted it as, then you will need to reduce the numbers here and reduce your spending. Okay. And that's pretty much all you have to do. Okay. Now, yeah, that's it. So once you're done with this, you're free to go.